Hello and welcome to Basel Tov, the courage and creativity of ADHD. I'm Jen.
I'm Ellen.
And I'm Annette.
And this is another delightful ADHD tidbit in your ears.
Yeah. That's right.
Awkward pause. Okay. So now that we've done awkward pause for effect, we decided today that we've been dumping a whole lot of science down people's throats. And I mean, I love garbage science, and Annette loves real science, and Ellen probably likes both. I like both.
Yeah, both.
But we decided that we were just going to do a simpler topic today because we were kind of in discussion about what pisses us off about our ADHD and how it affects our lives. So we decided that we were going to do not an interview. Anyway, my brain. We're going to do an episode on each of our top 5 ADHD peeves and one of our favorite ADHD traits, or like a trait combo that like we use in our lives that's just like the most amazing. So, which one of us wants to start with this?
Ellen.
And
I'm faster.
Thrown under the bus.
All right, here we go.
Voluntold.
Yeah. I mean, God, there were so many things I could put on this list. How do you just pick 5? But
I know. Right?
I mean, so I've got the inattentive type ADHD. So my main issues are not going to be like overthinking and anxiety. My main issues are, well, here, I'll just share my list here. Okay. So, I mean, in no particular order, but just my executive function letting me down is a big one, freezing, knowing what I need to do. I'm sitting there thinking about all the tasks I need to do, but I just can't fucking do it. I just can't move. Like there's just everything in me is just saying, no, stay. Yeah. So, yep. And then, number 2, frustration, misplacing items. I am constantly losing things because I'll just absentmindedly set down my phone, on top of a laundry hamper or a random area where it blends in, and just I'm always misplacing things. And then going along with that, number 3, forgetting things. I'm very forgetful, so always setting reminders on my phone, like we were just talking about before the show. I'm addicted to phone reminders because I will forget if I rely on my own brain. Another big one for me, time blindness is a huge pet peeve of mine. I never know what time it is. I don't care what time it is. I mean, unless there's something that I know I have to do later, and then maybe I'll be obsessively looking at the clock. But otherwise, I'm just easy peasy with that. And then number 5, frustration. Number 5 is all the audio processing disorder issues that I seem to have, where if subtitles could exist in real life for real life conversations, that would be so helpful for me. Like, it's better now because not everybody wears a mask all the time, but during masking times, I had a real hard time with conversations. I gotta see people's lips moving sometimes. So yeah. Okay, and then we're sharing one thing that we kind of like about our ADHD.
Yeah, like your favorite thing about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I can attribute this to ADHD or not, but I feel like I mean, I guess it has something to do with creativity, but I feel like I've got a knack for solving problems in unique ways. Kind of like, remember that old 90s show MacGyver? How he was always fixing shit? Yeah. I want to be like him when I grow up, because
I want to be like him when I grow up.
Yeah. But I love thinking of creative solutions like that, like you're trying to fix something, and so just thinking of a way to like jerry rig it, I hope that's still
I love
a PC
those
term.
TikToks too.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, that's genius. And then I forget all about how to do it. I'm like, do that again.
oh, me too. I always forget these things. Yeah, but sometimes I feel like ADHD, that might be an ADHD superpower, is being able to think of creative solutions, kind of out of the box solutions that other people might not see. So
yeah,
that's good. That's really important.
Wow. Your list is so relatable.
I know, right? Seriously.
Yes.
And before we go on, I think in all fairness, we need to mention the fact that we are recording this show on daylight savings when we've just sprung forward 1 hour for spring. And, all of like me and Ellen sound a little disheveled. And it's because we are. Because, with going with what Ellen was saying about time blindness, we get fucked up by daylight savings twice a year, people, and it was so real today.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Ellen,
why are we still doing this?
Ellen and I literally were here an hour early to record this show, thinking the whole time that Annette was just being this late dirtbag late person, and that we were so superior. And in fact, we were an hour early because daylight savings.
And
they have
the only
daylight
reason
savings in Japan.
Yeah, that's the only reason I was not joined on this bandwagon, is because we don't have daylight savings time, so it's just a regular day for me.
How did you guys luck out like that?
I know.
Well, because
right?
it's not necessary.
Exactly.
It really
so why do we fucking do it?
I know. Oregon voted to get rid of daylight savings years ago. They still haven't freaking done it. I'm so mad.
I will vote for president for whoever promises to abolish daylight savings time. Yeah, that's the only issue.
I might join.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We should start a petition.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some. Yeah, seriously, it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah. So, in all fairness, we're disheveled because we're just disheveled. That's it.
Yeah.
There we go. So, Annette, your relatable list of relatable ADHD things.
Yes. What are your frustrations and your one?
Again, you had to whittle it down to 5, and it's really hard. So Ellen said, her inability to get things done, and she was very eloquent about it. My list just says mental doom lists leading to action paralysis.
Oh, that's pretty eloquent too.
Doom list.
I like the way you phrased that.
That's so funny, because this weekend we started rearranging how our garage was set out, and we put all of the canning stuff and food preservation things and everything that has to do with making things ourselves, like the sewing machine and all of the components for the laundry soap that I make, and we've been calling it our doom shelf now.
That's awesome.
In a dystopian world, we will come out supreme. Yes.
Yes, you've got the supply.
You probably will. Yeah, but
got me
I
beat.
I get that list going in my head, and then I can't get anything started.
And it's hard to prioritize.
Yeah, it's
is.
I know I have to do all this.
Yeah,
and it's it's really frustrating, because people who I live with neurotypical people, and they sit there and they think well, of course, it's really easy to do the things you like, and it's not it's fun to do the other things, but you just do it. And it's no, you don't understand. It's not that I don't think it's fun or anything. It's just it's my mind gets overwhelmed, and then it makes me so tired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because my brain is spinning, and then it's why am I tired all the time? I'm sleeping. Why am I tired? It's because my brain just shut up. And so so mental doom lists leading to action paralysis is number 1. Number 2, my inability to sit through long things.
Yes.
I have the hardest time just sitting.
What about movies? Can you sit through a movie?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it depends on the movie. But like
Mm.
even then, I'll have to eat popcorn or something. I gotta be moving. Like
Gotta have a
Mhm.
stimulation. Yeah.
yeah, if I
It
have
is hard
nothing,
to sit that long.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I really hate that. I wish I could like look like an adult when I'm sitting in a meeting. You know?
You need a wiggle
Right?
seat.
Yeah. Like I'm sitting there and I'm like twiddling my fingers and looking around at things and like, you know, bopping my foot up and down. And it's like I look like a kid in class because I just like I can't focus. I can't stop moving. It's like
Mm.
especially like Japanese school meetings, they give you a
Mm.
paper and everything they're going to talk about is written in this goddamn paper. And then you got to sit through the teacher just reading the fucking paper. Okay?
Ugh.
I don't need you to explain it to me. I just need the paper. Bye. Like
Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
boring.
it's the
Mhm.
worst. But if you don't sit through the meeting, you get judged.
Yeah, but you look like an
Oh.
asshole. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And I
That's
already look like an
tough.
asshole enough because I work and I'm always busy. So I have to be like, go, yo, I got to dip, you know? Like, so I try to do the best I can. But then, so inability to sit through long things is number 2. Number 3, memory issues. I forget everything
Ugh,
except
yeah.
the lyrics to every song I know.
I can't remember lyrics to save my life, and I'm a legendary butcherer of them. It's amazing.
I go to karaoke. I don't need that karaoke machine. I can sing all the words to even songs I haven't heard in 20 years. I still remember all
Wow.
the words, but I don't know where my keys are. That's why they go on the same place every time. I have like really fixed routines because otherwise I'm just
Mhm.
fucked in the head. And so
Mm.
when people move things in my English room, it gets me really frustrated because like
Mm.
it goes
Yeah.
here. Why is it not here? I
Mm.
want to use it. Where is it? And so my
Mhm.
Who moved
teachers,
the scissors?
my teachers, they have to be
Mhm.
like, yo, you need to put things away in their proper place so it's easy to find them. Like, come on,
Mhm.
you know. But
Yeah.
uh yeah, so uh memory issues. It
Mhm. They
sucks. Okay,
suck.
so that's number 3.
Yeah.
Number 4, inflexible routines. So I mentioned before, just like
Mm.
I can't be flexible. Otherwise, I have no idea what's going on. Like I
Mm.
if something in my schedule changes, everything goes out the window.
Yeah.
It's a free for all and I'm like I have no idea what I'm doing. So like
Don't
every
like
morning I
that.
have this process with the girls, okay? So I bring them downstairs, put on the TV, make their breakfast. While I after I make their breakfast, I get their tea and set it out. I take their temperatures, write everything in their teacher notebook, you know, their homework notebook that I need to
Mm.
like, yes, I checked this. You need to bring this.
They
Now,
have you check your kid every day before school?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Every
And
day?
so, yeah, yeah. It's like what they need to bring to school, what their homework was. Like, so I check their
Yeah.
homework the night before, but then I check it again in the morning to make sure that they're bringing everything that they need for that day.
Yeah, no, that's just cool. I didn't realize they had you check their temperatures before school every
Oh,
day.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart.
That
Yeah.
is smart. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and so there's this routine, but if something comes in and changes the routine, everything flies out the window. Like this morning, I
Mhm.
completely forgot because it's Monday. I forgot Corinne because Layla's sick today. She has like sinus issues, and I had to take her to the doctor. So she didn't go. So that kind of threw a wrench in it. And then Corinne was like on her way to school, and I realized she didn't have her indoor shoes, her lunch apron and hat, and her PE clothes that you always bring on Monday. And I was like, shit. And
Oh.
usually I have it all laid out, but it's chunk in the routine. So I had to run after her, be like, you
Oh
know.
my gosh.
That is so
So
true. Yeah, when you have a routine going like that, if one little thing goes wrong, it can cause everything to go wrong.
oh, it's
Or if
Chaos.
one little thing is
chaos.
different. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Because you're
and
just
one
not
little
thinking the same
thing
way.
And one little thing that just kind of throws you off emotionally too can
Mm-hmm.
fuck you for the rest of the day.
Oh, true.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, even getting a little piece of bad news in the morning about something, it can ruin your whole day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
not like just this like, oh, that's sad. It's like it literally messes with your head and you can't do anything. It pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want
Yes.
same thing all the time. Then I can keep myself on track.
Yep.
So, inflexible routines is number 4, and number 5 is my horrible sensory issues.
Hmm.
I always tend to eat the same thing wherever I
Mhm.
go. I have like set things. I don't venture out of them because I don't know if I'm going to like it, or I don't know. I'm just a creature of habit in that way. Like I'll eat the same thing
Mhm.
for breakfast every day 'cause I don't want to think about it, and then until it just like something switches in my head and it ruins it for me, and then I'm like, I don't want it anymore.
Mhm. Okay.
So, but yeah, sensory issues, tags on shirts, or
Hmm.
like
Oh,
weird
yeah.
noises, or being touched too much
Mhm.
just grates on my nerves. So, like, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I can be put in a really like bitchy mood just because there's too much going on around me. Like, I really hate Disneyland. Like, everybody
Mm.
loves
Oh,
Disneyland.
yeah. It's
I
Yeah.
hate,
overwhelming, I bet.
Sensory overload.
and you have to
Yeah.
wait in long lines for a
Yeah.
like
Oh, yes.
2-minute ride.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Asinine.
Somebody tell me why that's worth it. Um, yeah. So,
Right.
Mhm.
so those are my 5 things. And the one thing I do like is funny, oddly enough, kind of like the same thing as Ellen. Like I'm able to find pathways to do things. Like for me it's mostly in teaching. Like I find ways to make a game that teaches a particular grammar structure or to make it fun for the kids, and I'm
Mm.
really good at just like having an idea and then jumping on it. Like today I had an idea because we have an order of adjectives, right, in
Mm.
English.
Yeah.
And so I made a game where it's like you start with one adjective, so like it's a red apple, and then it has to be like uh there are 3 red apples, and then there are 3 big red apples, and then like adding the adjectives, and the
Mm-hmm.
like the higher your level is, the more adjectives you can add in, and making these little cards that you put into the spaces on the little game sheet. So I
That's
just had this
awesome.
I
I
had this
love
idea
that.
just like, yeah, just like that. And so like I really enjoy the creativity that comes with ADHD and the spontaneous thing. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass that you hyper focus on those creative, ideas because then nothing else gets
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
When you become
Yeah.
obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes.
and then you start something, and then halfway through you're like, I'm tired.
Yep, and then you abandon the project.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, I like the creativity. So Jen, what's
Yes.
yours?
Oh my goodness. My top 5 ADHD peeves as the combined type ADHD person in this scenario. Um, the first one that came to mind is definitely the one that I hate the most. Absolutely freaking hate it. Is forgetting words mid-sentence.
Mm.
Do you know how many times, listeners, do you know how many times this happens to me every damn show? Every show. So you can probably hear it, me casting around for words like, oh, the thing, and I'll just go on forever. Or like sometimes I'll talk a lot because I'm trying to think of the word in the back of my mind, like, oh, I know I want to say this one thing, and it would be really cool if I were able to boil this idea down to one succinct word that I've forgotten momentarily.
Yep.
Great. On top of that, I'm studying, my course of study is in literature, like to write and be an editor and a teacher. And it's like, okay, so I can write shit down just fine, but but I can't say it. That's bullshit. That's
Why
bullshit.
why do you think your brain trolls you like that?
I
Uh,
I know, right? If I could
Do you
only
think
find that out.
is it like there's too many thoughts going on and so you're like, which word do I pick? Or is it like
It's really
it's in there but it's just not coming up?
I know it's in there and it's not coming up. Like
Yeah.
it's sometimes
That is
I'll
frustrating.
start stuttering because I have too many ideas or too many like words that I want to say coming out at once in my brain and I can't keep track of them all. But most of the time it's because I started out knowing what I wanted to say, and sometime during the course of simply speaking the sentence, my brain just went and oh, it's okay. You don't need this one word that was integral to the meaning of your sentence. No problem, right? You can figure out a creative way to get around it, can't you? You know?
I relate so hard. And I'm pretty sure that the last episode we established that our brains are assholes. So
Oh
they
yeah,
are.
totally. Yep, they are the assholes. So forgetting
They're the real asshole.
they are the real asshole.
Mhm.
Forgetting words mid-sentence is my absolute number one top peeve because it makes me sound stupid when I'm actually highly educated. God damn it.
that's interesting because I do that a lot, and that's why you hear me go on the podcast too. But I know what I want to say, but it just doesn't come. And I was wondering if like that's because I am constantly speaking two languages, but maybe not. Maybe it's just
No, because
Oh.
I never fully learned any other language. I know tiny
Yeah.
little bits and pieces of, a few different languages, but like, English is really my only fluent language. And I will just blank out completely for an indeterminate amount of time. It might come to me the next second and I might be like, oh yeah, this thing. Or it might not come back to me at all until the next day when I could kick myself for not having remembered it.
Do you ever have like somebody will ask you? Maybe you don't because you don't deal with uh, people who are speaking a different language. But like my students will ask me, "Hey, Miss Annette, how do you say blah 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 blah?" And like my brain just goes, and like it's an easy thing. It's an easy word, and I'm just
Oh,
like,
no.
and
Oh,
it comes
no.
to my head in at
Mhm.
least 3 different languages. And I'm like, which
Mhm.
one's English?
Oh God.
Oh, no. Oh, that sounds like the worst fuckery ever. I'm so sorry.
Oh man.
Oh
Just tell
my
them to use Google Translate.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll give
I'm
them a real
teaching you
reliable result.
well, I'm teaching you research tools in elementary school. It will help you.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Totally.
That's
Okay.
Number
right.
2 for me is ADHD overwhelm. And
Mm.
I've called it this because it seems like ADHD people they have a whole different level of overwhelm that neurotypical people they don't have it and they don't understand it. And it is enough to drive somebody fucking crazy. Like
Mhm.
imagine that you have to clean up a room and it's really messy. And you go in there, you open the door, and instantly you're overwhelmed because the job is so big and your brain will not break it down into tiny little logical, easy to manage chunks very easily because it doesn't think like that. It thinks about the whole picture, which is the entire massive, disgusting room that you have to clean. And instantly it's overwhelm, like near panic level overwhelm where you're just like, I just want to go back to bed now. I'm going to shut this door and I'm going to go straight back to bed. Like,
Yeah, it is.
That's when you
shut down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when you light a match, set the whole house on fire, move and
Yeah.
change your name.
Start over.
And then collect the insurance payment.
Yes. I mean,
Or go to jail for insurance fraud.
Exactly. One or the other.
You choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure, people.
Yeah, but that's a real
ADHD
thing.
overwhelm. It is so horrible. Like, I wish I could just get stuff done without feeling so overwhelmed that, like, I don't even know if I can breathe properly. I have to remind myself to take deep breaths. And then, like, okay, wait, how can we break this down into a manageable thing? What thing could I do that seems real easy right now? Well, maybe I'll just pick up all these things first. And, like, even though I really logically know how to go about these things, it will give me panic every time. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just defaults to that. Number 3 for me is indecision. And this is what can help make the ADHD overwhelm even worse because you don't know where to start. You can't decide. You can't decide what's easiest for you or best for you. You have no clue what will take you the most time or the least time. You don't know how it will affect the rest of your day. Right in that minute, you're not thinking about later. You're thinking about right now. Like, do I need this for later? Like, some people just automatically know that, hey, this is the most important thing because I'm going to need it later. I should clean this area first or whatever. But ADHD minds don't really think like that.
Yeah.
So
We don't know how to prioritize as well.
no, they don't. So the indecision on what to start first or what to choose. Have you guys ever been in the grocery store and you're like, you need one fucking ingredient for a thing, and you'll stay in the store for an hour reading ingredient labels because you can't decide which one to buy, or maybe doing math because you can't decide which one is the best value?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the indecision. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't go
It's
shopping.
real.
I make my mother-in-law do it.
It's paralyzing. Man, I wish I had a mother-in-law that I could make do that.
Well, I can't read all the labels, dude.
Oh yeah, that's right.
My Japanese is good, but it's not like native.
Yeah.
Fair.
But, yeah,
fair.
I don't know.
making decisions is exhausting, and
It is.
there's so many little decisions you have to make throughout your day. So, it adds up.
Yeah, that's why.
Any one of them could paralyze you.
Yeah, and that's why February and March for me is so hard because I have like a million decisions I have to make about the English school, and it's just like I can't, like, these decisions should be easy, guys. They're not like these big things. They should be easy, but for some reason I just can't do it. It pisses me off.
Yep.
Every year.
There's always some horrible decision you have to make every day that has the capability to fuck your entire day up by messing with your time management skills.
I can't make a simple decision about what days I'm going to do a trial lesson, but I can spend like 5 hours making a brand new game.
Yeah, because it's interesting.
That's much more interesting, isn't it? Yeah. I know. Amazing, right? Number 4 is time management issues.
We're all time management.
My old friend.
Hello, time management, my old friend. You come to fuck with me again.
Every day.
Yep. Yes. So time management. Well, let's just say there's not a whole lot of management going on.
Didn't you just get an Apple Watch, Jen? Is that helping your time management at all?
It's interesting because, like, we have phones that we carry around most places, right? Like, most people have their phones in their pocket or near them or wherever. So I didn't feel like I had, like, I felt like I could check the time when I had a phone, just a phone. Yeah. However, what it's really doing is making other shit feel less overwhelming because, like, have you ever, like, set your phone down and, like, walked away from it for a while and you come back and there's 8 billion fucking notifications and there's like this whole list,
like
and
you
it's
guys
instantly
every
overwhelming. Oh, sorry. It's instantly overwhelming. Just like, what in the hell? Why did I get so many emails? What is this? Well, having them come in on the watch one by one so that they're not sitting on my phone screen is actually preventing me from feeling the overwhelm. And then I can see what comes in as it comes in. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did get that thing. Oh yeah. So, like, because it's not coming in bulk, I am more aware of what's actually, like, sifting in. And I feel like I'm more aware of stuff that's happening, which is really nice.
That's
So
good.
yeah, so for listeners, I've been kind of working on the process of ADHD proofing my life, just kind of quietly, and eventually we'll probably talk about this on the podcast. But getting an Apple Watch was one of the things that I decided to do to try to streamline my life more for ADHD purposes. And so far, it seems like the stuff I'm doing is working out. um, but yeah, time management, I suck at it. I don't like it. And it feels really degrading when people are like, well, why don't you just leave 15 minutes earlier? And I'm like, you don't understand, bitch. Do you know how many ideas I have in 15 minutes?
Yeah.
You don't get it.
Nope. Okay, and,
Yeah.
and then what's your thing that you love about your ADHD?
Oh, I got to do number 5 though. Number
Oh,
5
my bad.
is, it's okay. I know, we lost count. Emotion dysregulation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So with all of these, forgetting a word mid-sentence, I freak out underneath it all. Like I'm pretty good at keeping a neutral face at this point, but inside I am freaking out. ADHD overwhelm. Well, let's see. I have emotion I have emotion dysregulation, so my level of overwhelm is like 10 times the normal person's perception of what overwhelming feels like to them. So it's like really, it could be like crippling. Indecision. And anytime I'm anxious about a decision, it's really anxious. Like, borderline anxiety attack level.
Yeah.
Time management issues. If I'm late somewhere and I figure it out, I might have a panic attack. It might happen for real. Like, so that I don't like, because I feel like if I could just cut out the emotion dysregulation part, that some of these might be more manageable. But it's just so pervasive. Like,
They
something
all
bad
impact each
happens.
other.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've been really super sad about something and people are like, "Oh, you're just being dramatic. It's not really that big a deal." And I'm like, "Crawl into my head. Why don't you?"
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I can't understand how people I mean, you have to validate other people's feelings. Feelings to me, feelings are facts. I don't understand how someone could tell someone you can't feel that way. You shouldn't feel that way. Well, I do.
Yeah.
Feelings,
Yeah.
you can't control your feelings.
I think that neurotypical people are super fucking inconsiderate. Like I literally just
They
witnessed
can be.
Yeah.
All right, fine, they can be inconsiderate. No, they're goddamn inconsiderate. So so what I actually witnessed the other day on Facebook, this has nothing to do with ADHD. I was just on a random chat where somebody mentioned that they were allergic to bee stings, and some other terrible person out there was like, well, maybe you're only allergic to wasp stings. They don't know this person. They don't know their allergies, and they're sitting here trying to gaslight them about what allergy they have.
Yeah,
well,
what the fuck?
actually, honeybees are super beneficial. Maybe it's just wasps you're allergic to. Maybe it's only this thing. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me, guys?
Oh my
like,
god.
Okay, so I'm gonna change my what I like about ADHD because actually what I love about people with ADHD is how empathetic they are.
Ooh, that's a good one that I didn't think
That is
to
good.
say.
Yeah. I like that because when you have ADHD, well, it can be very humbling, and I think it kind of, neurotypical people that don't have those same issues, they're not going to be as empathetic naturally, I think, because they just don't get it.
Yeah.
They don't have to consider it. They don't have to look at their watch 10 times within an hour to make sure they're not late. They don't have to make sure that they always put the thing in the same place every time, or else they'll lose it and have a panic attack. They don't have to worry about, how far ahead they should plan, or maybe how close they should plan to like put a notification. Like I can't do notifications any farther out than 10 minutes, but somebody else can have a 30-minute notification and get to wherever they're going on time. And it's like, oh my God, what? So there's just so much stuff they don't have to consider. And I think that's probably that probably contributes to why they're less empathetic and, less considerate of other people's feelings.
It's not as hard for them, like doing all
Yeah,
the
it's
tasks,
not.
and yeah, like some of the best bosses I've ever had have had ADHD, and so I know that they understand the struggle, and you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
it's great.
definitely. Oh, that's awesome.
I
Hmm.
hope my
Um,
employees think I'm a good boss.
oh, I'm sure they've got to. I can't imagine them
Oh
not thinking
yeah.
that you are. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, but sometimes they give me the side eye because I'm always like, "Oh shit, that was today," or like, "Oh yeah, oops."
it's, but you wouldn't hassle them about like, super mundane things like, oh, you were 2 seconds late through the door. You don't get
Yeah,
some
I
of
don't
your,
care
like,
as long as they get their stuff
yeah,
done. I don't care when you show up.
Right. Yeah, you've got more empathy for
yeah,
your employees this way.
exactly.
Mhm.
Um, And then my favorite ADHD trait is actually a trait combo that I use to my advantage frequently, which is super creativity combined with hyper focus.
Ooh, that is a good combo.
The creativity and hyper focus combo is what saves my ass all the time.
Yep.
I have survived a bachelor's degree and almost all of my master's degree programs solely on super creativity paired with hyperfocus. It is my lifeblood, my lifeline.
Yep.
Like I can't stress to you all how important it is for me because that is literally how I solve all of the problems that ADHD creates.
It makes up
So
for it.
yeah, in some odd way, it does make up for it. It allows me to do like if I forget about an assignment, I will be able to crank that thing out in a record amount of time. If
Mhm.
I have a whole week to do something and I know I've got a whole week to do it, I'm going to do teeny tiny little insignificant bits and it's going to be very lazily put together and I'll have to edit it quite a bit because it lacks focus. Whereas
Mhm.
if I sit down and hyper focus on it, I can bang that thing out in like 30 minutes and it's like damn near
Yeah.
flawless.
It's crazy how that works but yeah,
Yeah.
that's how the creative process is sometimes, I guess.
Yeah. And
Did
that's
you
something. Uh
Oh, Ellen, did you have
huh.
that like hyper focus and creativity when you were baking?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. That's yeah, when I was really in the baking world, that's when that would manifest in my life. Yeah, cuz
Yeah, and
normally I don't
listeners, you
experience
gotta
it too
know
much.
that she's crazy good
Oh,
at
thank
baking and
you.
decorating. Like
Yes.
insane.
Yeah. Ellen does stuff with cakes that I can't even imagine
No, her
ever
sugar
doing.
cookies.
Yeah.
Her sugar cookie art. Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
thank you. Thank
I
you.
know,
I
right?
do get a lot of enjoyment out of
Amazing.
that. Yeah, that's where the creativity and the focus comes in. Yeah, because when you're working on a cake, you can't do that over the course of a week. You got to do it all together, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that's true.
mhm,
Yeah.
it all comes
I
together at
know,
the
like, I can
end.
put stuff together over the course of however long, but, like, I could
Yeah,
yeah, cake.
yeah.
I can't.
There's almost something more satisfying in just getting it all done at once like that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's
So
like
cool.
it is.
I
It
envy
is.
you so much for like being able to do
Oh.
that because like I try to make sugar cookie designs and it's epic fails every
Well,
time.
but I've seen your bento boxes, and those are pretty
Uh,
damn amazing. So,
Oh, those are good.
yeah.
Yeah. In fact, we even put a little quip on the website that Annette's bento boxes are better than everybody
That's
else's.
right. They are.
it,
Yeah.
I'm just really good at cutting seaweed. That's all.
Do you
There
use
you
a
go.
scalpel?
I use an X-Acto knife.
Close enough.
Oh,
Scalpel, X-Acto knife. They're the same
nice.
basically, right?
Yep.
Maybe not.
But yeah, it's a great
Oh
outlet
my
though.
god. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I guess every one of us has our own creative outlets and that's why we value it so much because I you know, creativity and like how you manifest that is almost like therapy for the rest of the experience.
Honestly, it makes life worth living sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For
It's like
real.
it's like everything's so hard, but then you have this superpower and you're like, see, nobody
Mhm.
else can do what I do.
That's
Nobody
right.
else.
Yeah.
And that's why we have a very valuable place in society. We do.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's right.
Yeah.
They should pay
Yeah.
us.
I
They
bet you.
should.
I bet you some of the greatest teachers all have ADHD because
Probably
it's
because they
that
make it
Yeah.
interesting.
it's that spontaneous like boom, let's do this and like
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mhm.
I swear my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Dotson, she was like kind of a hippie that wore platform sandals, and this is in the 80s. She was amazing. And like I swear, looking back, that woman definitely had ADHD. And she was the
Oh my
best
god.
teacher ever. And we would sing in
Mhm.
class. We'd go outside and draw clouds. And like she while we're drawing clouds, she'd be like, and this is the stratus. And like she
Oh
would
Oh.
my
teach us all the names.
gosh.
And so there's so much I still remember from 5th grade because I had the best teacher.
Oh
So
my
Oh, and
gosh.
you're probably
I'm
just like that
thinking
now, doing creative things for
maybe
your class. I love
she's my
that.
I'm thinking
yes.
I'm starting to think back to all the teachers that I had that maybe had ADHD. Annette, do you remember Mrs. Burlerow?
Yeah.
She had to have had it. Like she was always so animated and jumping
Scattered.
around and oh my god, and she had the funniest ways of teaching class and I would actually pay attention to math because of her.
Oh, see,
Like,
yeah, yeah. When you have a teacher that keeps it interesting like that, it helps the
yeah.
students. Mm-hmm.
Well, because
Yeah, it does.
because a lot of teachers will just use what a book says, like you teach it this way, but then like teachers with ADHD
Snooze.
go they see the G in people's eyes and they're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I'm losing them, and then
Yeah.
they're like then they
Yeah.
get this idea like, oh, but you could do it this way, and that's kind of interesting, and that kind of like pulls it in, so you're like, well, here, let's
Yeah.
look at it this way, you guys come over here, you guys come over here, and like changes the whole dynamic of a lesson, and then everybody comes out of that lesson going, I get it, okay.
Yeah. With
That's awesome.
ADHD, you're just constantly, your brain is constantly thinking like, how can I make this more interesting? You know?
Yeah.
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 Oh my gosh, I just remembered one of the greatest compliments I ever got from somebody was I had a friend who sent me a text message asking how they would properly say a certain thing. Was it one this way or that way? And I remember breaking it down and like, well, you got to think of it like this and blah, 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 blah. And I had broken it down in a text message and just like sent it real quick. And then I get this message back like 10 minutes later that said nothing but you should have been a broke ass teacher. I was just like, oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do need to pay teachers more, especially good
Yes.
teachers.
That's
There should be a
that's
merit
real.
system.
Very
Yeah,
true.
yeah. If you're a better teacher, you should be paid more. Incentive. Like
Mhm.
I'm
seriously.
telling you.
If you're just pooping along the axis, you should get the bare minimum.
So how are we gonna close this up, ladies?
I
Yeah.
don't even know.
So
I don't know. I'm
Ellen's
tired.
dying
It's
because
daylight.
it's like after
It's
12
daylight.
o'clock.
it's 1
I
a.m. It's
know.
1
It
a.m.
is
right
so
now in
bad.
Illinois. No, I'm doing
Yeah.
good. I guess
Yeah.
in summary, there are lots of things about ADHD that drive us crazy, but there's always, the good things, the silver lining to be found for how
Yeah. And
how it
just
helps us.
Yeah.
because we've overwhelmingly answered creativity to our silver linings doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you guys won't find additional silver linings that get you through your days.
Mhm.
And that's just what makes ADHD such a fascinating thing. I mean, they're getting closer to calling it a brain disorder or because they're finding structural differences in the brain
Mhm.
instead of less. So they're getting closer to calling it a physical disorder instead of just a mental disorder or a learning disorder, something that can't be seen because there are physical differences.
I
But like,
disagree. I think that maybe it's the next step in human evolution.
Oh, shit. What do you mean?
either that or it was the first step in human evolution and we should be carrying clubs and like making fires and living in caves. I can't decide.
Oh,
Well,
Annette, you're
actually, like-
saying people with ADHD are more highly evolved? Is that what you're implying?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
All right, I can get on board with that.
prefer to
Well,
think that.
I do have a theory. I do somewhat theorize that
Yeah.
like autism, the rates have been increasing, and the reason why is because it's a next step in brain evolution, I think. Because a
Interesting.
lot of the things that autistic people don't focus on are things that are not necessarily cognitively necessary, like
Yeah.
emotional interaction or society, those kind of things. Their brain is wired for very specific tasks, just like a machine.
Interesting.
And so it's my
Yeah.
theory. This is just my bullshit theory. This is my junk science. Okay,
Garbage
guys?
science.
Oh, yes. Junk science. Oh my God. My junk science is that I think that all of us have been here in this beautiful spectrum of brain capabilities the entire time that we've been in existence, but maybe the rates have fluctuated because it would be more advantageous or less advantageous to have a certain, a certain brain structure or a certain neurological makeup. So my junk science is that maybe we'll just fluctuate and continue. Like, I think that we need the ADHD people and we need the neurotypical people and we need the autistic people. Like, they fulfill actual needs in society, which is why I don't feel like, marginalizing anybody for their abilities is a good idea, because we can find what they're excellent at and just let them do that.
And stop
It's
being
not
a
that
judgy
hard.
bitch.
Yeah, stop being judgy bitches and just let people do what they do, and everybody's happier.
Yeah,
It really,
we all have our own unique abilities, and we're not all supposed to be the same. Everyone contributes
yeah,
to their family, their community differently. So just be yourself.
yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine a world in which ADHD people would be allowed to just come to work whenever, like, when during the day it occurred to them to go to work, but they had to stay there for a certain amount of time or something like that? Like, we would be there, we would be getting our work done.
Yeah, we'd show up at a different time every day, but
Or maybe there's just a certain amount of work you have to get done in every single day. And once you meet the objectives,
These are your tasks.
once you meet the objectives, you're done. That's it.
Actually, I have had jobs like that in the past where, you go in, you got your task list. Doesn't matter how long it takes you, just get it done. So then it was on me to prioritize and manage my time.
And you know that it was
Yeah.
not an ADHD person who made that task list.
Right, yeah.
No, right. It's always like punishingly long, and you're like, how?
Exactly.
No, it's because I don't think that we could make we couldn't expand out to take that, the constant things like this needs to be done, then this needs to be done, then this needs to be, and you break it down into like who needs to do what. I personally don't think that, I mean, at least for me, that's not something that I can do.
That's why I hate being a manager. I hate distributing tasks and figuring out who needs to do what. Can't even figure out what I need to do, man. Yeah. Just everyone be cool.
Oddly, that's something that I feel like I would be okay at.
Oh.
Like, it doesn't make sense that I should be able to do that at all. But like, and maybe it's because of the role of outlining in all of the studies that I've undertaken, because outlining has been so important, like every step of the way from undergrad through the graduate experience, that like I've learned how to throw together outlines that are really good and helpful. And that's just bullet pointing stuff and, taking an idea and putting it down the chain. Where would this idea go? Would it go under this header, that header, that header? Like it's making that same decision. So I think that's how I got trained to do it.
It's good skills.
Yeah.
Of which I have none.
We're all so wonderfully different. But yeah. So anyway, if you guys are listening to the top ADHD peeves that we all have, and maybe you haven't been diagnosed yet, but you're kind of like, oh, you know what? That's really relatable. Maybe book a session with a counselor or somebody who might be able to help diagnose you and see if you can go on your own ADHD adventures and find out what's best for your life.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's how I first went down the path of getting diagnosed with ADHD, is just hearing other people's experiences and thinking, God, that's super relatable. Maybe I have ADHD. And long story
Yeah.
short, I did.
Big surprise.
Yep,
I had
surprise.
it.
So, but
Yeah.
that's how
So
you learn, just from hearing other people's experiences.
Yeah.
exactly. I
Mhm.
know that we've urged people to, go seek therapy or counseling or, go get it checked out so many times on every show, but it's, really true. That's helpful. Once you can put a name to the problem, you start being able to solve the problem. So we're probably going to keep telling people to do this.
Mhm.
If it annoys you, we're sorry. We just want what's best for everybody. So
Yep.
anyway, thank you guys for listening and being here with us on our own journeys as we go along to try to improve our own lives as we, try to explain this stuff to everybody else. So thanks for listening.
Yeah,
Good
thanks.
night, good morning, whatever. I didn't. If this is a podcast, you're listening at whatever time. But Basil Tov.
Mazel
Mazel tov.
tov.